Hi everyone. A very happy Mahashivaratri to all of us who are celebrating today. The Mahashivaratri celebrations have already begun in India. Right? It is the celebration which is also called as the divine union or the marriage of Shiva and Shakti. It has to do with our internal energies of the divine feminine and masculine coming into the next level of integration, so we say, and especially with the paradigm shift. So it's a very exciting time. Also, this video, importantly, is in response to the questions that were coming up regarding the significance of this Mahashivaratri, and especially with it, with the culmination of the 144th Kumbh Mela that is happening. So it's the new era, right? We're in the new times. Before I jump into that though, a foundational tenet, right? Context is everything. That which we are as consciousness is timeless. So none of this really applies to that aspect of us, that which already is. And that is the core invitation ultimately. All of this at the level of the physical body, our personal mind, the play of what I call as chronos, right? Linear time-space reality. That we as consciousness appear as this body, as in not just this body, as this whole phenomena that is the I am, as the inner, outer, the dynamics of that me and the world, self, reality, all of that, is we, the timeless, that is experiencing itself as the illusion, or what we may call as the reality of linear time-space. That is the 3D, right? But of course we know that that which we are is timeless. So the ultimate core practice, which is non-practice, which is our true nature, which is simply being aware. Yeah? So just being aware is the eternal invitation, because this often comes up because when we are exploring this, these two ways of being for the Dwapara state of mind, that is looking at this as a concept, it is the paradox, and therefore it finds this paradox that it cannot really dissolve, because when we are identified as the person, we are living in time, and this is our identity and our lived experience, naturally, then being timeless, not doing, simply being, right, and just being aware kind of feels like conflicting information. So, and when we are in the Dwapara state of mind, this state of mind cannot hold these opposites, because it is the versus, this versus that. It's the or paradigm. The thing is, it's the and. Yeah, that is the 4D play. And that which I am is timeless. And I am appearing as this play of linear time-space reality. Very important. So the eternal invitation, it's not an invitation at all, which already is that we are awareness, we are consciousness. And when that we know is primary, then we play this game and explore this game as linear time-space reality, right? And what is the difference in that? Which really I share is the difference in the experience, because all there is to self and reality is experience, which is determined by the identity that in which we stand. If we stand primarily as I'm the body, and then there is a world outside, and I'm moving, evolving as time, all of that, then there is a sense of being tethered. Then the play of the Dwapara Yuga begins. As long as our identity or our lens is through the body, and that's our primary identity, we're going to start looking for fulfillment outside, taking as if we have to arrive to some place to be something, all of that dynamic. See, every state of mind is a dynamic kshetra, we call it. It's a playground. Right? All there is consciousness. The minute consciousness starts vibrating, and we are all uniquely vibrating, right? That is the experience, that frequency, right? Creates this illusion of denseness, of unconsciousness, which of course is an illusion because all there is consciousness. And we experience that. And this is how we as consciousness forget that which we are, so that we can play and taste different ways of being, different dreams. That's why mind is a dream, ultimately. Okay? But being identified as the mind, we live as if it is reality. This is the core of understanding. So now, when we are as awareness, we can explore, revel, enjoy this experience that we are here vibrating as. It's a conscious choice, right? Because all there is consciousness. So even though at the level of our personal mind, whether we remember it or not, whether we know it or not, doesn't matter. This is a conscious choice, this experience. So that's kind of the foundational understanding for the question that we're coming for. How do we kind of hold this, right? And understanding of this, that's why it dissolves the paradox itself. The paradox doesn't exist. It only exists when we look through the lens of the one that is perceiving and living the paradox, is the paradox. That is the Dwapara state of mind. That is our identity as the personal self. Our 5 senses will only reflect back that experience. But we are more than that. So the more and more we are aware, present, timeless, everything unravels. Yeah, everything dissolves. The inner, outer, all of that dissolves. All there is the arising of this moment. It's experienced as that. Okay, saying this, we'll jump into the question for the significance of Mahashivaratri and this play. And this is the Chronos time, right? So standing as awareness, it's the Kairos time. Kairos. That is the feminine, that is, I won't jump into that too much, but it's like the feminine energy, which is the subtle, which is the knowing of the timeless being. That is subtle understanding. When consciousness is more stabilized as the subtle body and the subconscious mind awakened from the causal state. That is Kairos. Now we'll jump into the Chronos. So Mahashivaratri, when we look at the level of our body, physical body, right? This physical body, this personal mind, its cycle of birth and death, and the world, and the ever-changing world, right? All of that is under the rule of Chronos, time, space, reality. They're all one. When consciousness vibrates as that is what is experienced. So in that context, we can explore everything at the level of linear time, which we have been doing, which is we explore our Dakshinayana, all of that. So at the level of the body, whatever change there is, right, that may be experienced. Mahashivaratri is the culmination of this grand cycle, and especially 2025. We are right now in this, new paradigm. It's the new era, right? So it is truly a quantum leap, because we are awake as the quantum field, and this Mahashivaratri is that divine integration, an integrated being that we are, which is like the open heart. We are awake as the Akasha element itself, as space, even beyond space. Space is not the right word for it, as awareness. Yeah? So that's the significance of this Mahashivaratri. So one of the most common questions that come forth for this is that why on Mahashivaratri, right? And that is again the Maha, right, which is the great, Shiva, which we know is the nature, pure nature of consciousness, and Ratri, that is our true nature, the unknown, what the known mind will say is the unknown, or the darkness, that is the feminine. Because the known mind is very enamored by its knowing, intellectual knowing, when we speak at the level of Dwapara Yuga and the lit world. Yeah, so Mahashivaratri is that one night where at the level of our linear plane, when we look at how consciousness, we as consciousness are appearing as the body, as the outer world, the planets, the whole cosmos, the energies are in play at such a level that it creates an energetic portal, one may say, that allows at the level of the body for us to take quantum leaps. Yeah? So we are already awake, we are already consciousness, but at the level of the mind, when we are playing as Dwapara Yuga, we are not aware of that. Right? So this is therefore those times that the body and this personal mind is invited into, to say this is a portal, this is a time when the energies are such that the appearance, simply the appearance, right, that the mind can awaken to that insight that I am. And at the level of energy, as we know, right, that's the feminine, which is at the level of the body. Body as in the Mother Earth is our body. This is our body. The whole, this thing is our body. Right? The cosmic being, that's the womb, is our body. So the Kundalini energy. Yeah? So that's the understanding of this and the significance of this night. And for this one night, all the ancient cultures, however they may be saying this, right? And I'm also going to give a time frame here in one sense. This is the night, of course. That's whenever we speak about a particular date or day, then we speak about in a very masculine way, right? It's like the calendar, the way our calendars are set up as a date. But as the feminine, we know, right? Energy is always flowing. So we start feeling this literally few weeks, even a month before. If you've been exploring this through the Kumbh Mela, as I have been through the Kumbh time, then we know it began like Jan 13th, right? And we're culminating right now. And it's going to move, this peaking of this is the peak. If you look at Mahashivaratri as a peak, it'll move till March 20th, which is the vernal or spring equinox, right? That's when this spring begins. It is the feminine phase now really establishing the subtle, and the spring is nothing but that which is living as consciousness, as energy, shows its beautiful face into our masculine world, right? So that's the blooming of the flowers, the new sprouts that we see, everything, and as within, as without. Right? So that's the invitation. So there's a time frame for this as well. So to stay up and to be very aligned with our energies in that sense. So why do we need to stay up during Mahashivaratri? Okay. So for that, I want to share the symbol that has been coming through really. And the symbol is Ouroborus. If you're familiar with the symbol, it's the snake that is eating its own tail, right? It's in a circle. It's an ancient Greek, I think even Egyptian symbol. And it's the way, it's a symbol to sense into the deeper nature of consciousness, that which we are as self and reality. That everything is cyclic. So even in the Vedas, we look at the time and we say, that when we are living as the Dwapara state of mind, time is linear, right? Because the mind is vibrating at that level. As we awaken to the 4D, we will say, let me kind of bring that in. 5D is timeless, right? That's the causal. We can see the causal body, which is Karana Sharira. That is where our true karma is found. The Sukshma Sharira, put that picture up here if you want to see the bodies, how that is our establishing ourselves as the subconscious and subtle body. Okay, so there, when we are established as that is when time from linear experience, the Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga is the experience of Stula Sharira. That means the gross body. When we establish ourselves as the subconscious play, we will experience time to be cyclic. That is what in the ancient Indian Vedas and all of that, we see time is cyclic in that sense. That is again the feminine. So the subconscious subtle body is our soul body, it's our light body. It is awakening to the collective, that I am the collective, right? There is nothing called as the personal and the universal that is separate. They're all one, they mirror each other. And depending on where we are standing, we experience ourselves as a facet of that. So subconscious subtle body is experiencing ourselves, right? We won't say as timeless, because that would be the causal body and beyond that, right? When we are looking through the lens of the subconscious, our subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, and subconscious mind, that is the soul self, and that soul self is our collective soul. We see that this collective is one soul, one being that is living itself. Yeah. So time is cyclic at that point. So Ouroborus can be sensed as a symbol for that. Yeah. So it's an ancient symbol, of course. I also want to kind of invite, before I kind of jump into that, about this core understanding, right? This is the understanding of moving from the masculine history, right, which is simply the story of linearity that is experienced at the level of 5 senses. If we only look from the 5 senses, then of course, right, that's how we will narrate who the self is, who the world is, what its history is, right? And this is how we experience multidimensionality. When we deepen and we awaken to our sixth sense, which is the feminine sense, intuition, and even beyond that, right, at a deeper level, we are awake, and now we can sense as the subconscious and subtle body level. Here, the linear time tends to dissolve, the inner and the outer tends to dissolve. We become presence, awareness. And it's so funny, that's the paradox, right? The more and more present we become, the more and more the multidimensionality and the nature of mind is understood, is perceived. That's the beauty of that which we are, right? So then that's when we awaken to the feminine self, which is her stories. We really see the nature of the mind is not one lived story. Every mind lives its own story. That is its own experience, that's its own perception based on the vibration of its own mind, right? And there's so much more to it, like there's mingling, we're all here co-creating together, all of that, yes, at the same time. But nobody's experiencing self or reality in one way. This is understood. This is awakening as abundance, right? Conscious awakening as abundance. So when we are in the subconscious and the subtle body state, in that sense, and time is seen to be cyclic, this Ouroborus is the symbol, and we awaken to seeing and sensing as consciousness, sensing everything symbolically. That is the significance of this time, where we are right now. That's where the energies are. And of course, as we know, nothing is random, right? So it's not a coincidence that if you are listening to this and you're here right now, we are in the same field playing together. So when we start sensing things symbolically, this is one of the invitations, and that I also want to mention, this is kind of like a part 2 video. I'm just going to be posting the part 1 soon as well, where I'm actually diving into the depth of how to sense at the level of symbols. How do we do that? Because that question was coming up. It's taking me a little time. I'll take care of that. But that it does not affect this video. This is by itself. It's kind of like part 2. So this is where we are. Now coming back to Mahashivaratri in that sense. So the symbol that's been coming up is this Ouroborus. Now, I want us to understand like one of the natures of mind. We as consciousness, our pure nature is attributeless. Okay, we cannot speak about it, we cannot know about it, and that is the funny part. We are it, but we are not, because there is nothing to us. So anything that can be experienced at any level of isness, and I include the I am in that as well, even the non-dual in that, if there's anything that can ever be experienced, whether even what we say is timeless and all of that, that's a different dimension of time and space reality. All of that is mind. So that is why mind is and allows for existence. There is nothing outside of existence. Or rather, we cannot even say what is or not beyond existence. Right? So anything that we so this is how we as consciousness, through and as mind, experience. And whatever the vibration of the mind is, that is experienced as the dream. So we are living our own dream, we are living our own reality. This is absolute knowing the power of that which I am. Yeah? And especially in the Ouroborus, the snake and the head eating the tail signifies something very, very powerful. And that is that every state of mind is that kshetra. The minute we are vibrating as a particular frequency, we are experiencing ourself, which is our reality, and everything, nothing is outside of that, at that level of frequency. That is the power. That is the power. Nothing is outside in that sense, at the level of consciousness. And this is what the Ouroborus actually shows, that mind is constantly, like, it's of course cyclic, right? So the feminine understanding is always that there is never a beginning, there's never an ending. At the level of mind, it simply appears that way, but it's like ongoing, right? It's eternal. It's now and it's eternal. That's one and the same. And the second meaning of this, one way we can really look at, is that when the head and the tail become one and start vibrating as one, then that playground, mind starts vibrating and playing as that playground. And I want to kind of bring this really to the chakras, which I've shared before. If you've really seen, I don't know which video that was, but you can really see that at the level of chakras, our crown chakra and our root chakra is one circle, right? And that can be seen as the Kali Yuga. Now again, there are opposites in this. I won't go into that. Just for this context, hold this. This and this. So if we are vibrating at this at a particular cycle, that is what is experienced here. So consciousness appears as a bindu point, if we look at that as the heart, and then extends itself into these chakras. The play of humanity, human experience begins. Okay, so these chakras are open. Now, depending on how the energies are moving, that's how consciousness is experiencing itself and its reality. So, all from the amount of light that is coming from the heart. So, you can look at the heart as the bindu point. Now, crown and the root chakra, if they are Kali Yuga, so if that is that Ouroborus, where the head and the tail are one, whatever it is vibrating as is what will be experienced. So if we start looking at that, then that is the critical point, one may say. The second chakra loop, which I shared, is the Agnya chakra, which is the third eye, which matches with the sacral chakra. Above the Mooladhara root chakra is the sacral chakra. When Dwapar Yuga, that's the Dwapar Yuga cycle. Again, I've shared that. The Dwapar Yuga releases its conditions, stand as the witnessing self. So that's why all the teachings that come about Sakshi Bhava, witness, simply observe, don't react, all of that we know, right? That is because we are activating this. That's how our third eye gets activated. We come into the duality of these two eyes that we have as our Dwapar Yuga unconscious self, this or that, and all of that in reaction. We start, it's the beautiful word that always comes for Ekagra. Ekagra, one graha. I start coming into the center. This is the thing of the third eye. Okay? So we just observe that neutrality, that we awaken as the neutral mind. Right? So that only as the neutral mind, that's the Shiva. Right? So Kumbh Mela we have Samudra Manthan, that the whole story is about the yugas in that Samudra Manthan, going from that Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga to Shiva drinking the poison and awakening to Satyayuga. That is the story for Kumbh Mela. So you have this thing coming up, you just hold, that is the second cycle. This is our seeking phase. So if you're moving through that phase, you'll see that is happening. Trust, know thyself, right? Don't react, be conscious, be aware, be present, be timeless, right? Here, and see the nature of the mind that is constantly dancing, good, bad, right, wrong, all of that. So you hold this, and this then starts, chakra circle starts getting activated. As soon as the third eye is open, we awaken to Tretayuga. Yeah, that is the Trinetra is open, Tretayuga gets activated. What is the Tretayuga? Now the throat and the chakra above that, which is Manipura, solar plexus. So we are currently there right now. Manipura is getting activated, throat chakra is getting activated. Again, as we know in the Egypt, this thing as well, it's the gold and the blue. We'll see that heart open. Right? This is awakened, the paradigm shift happens. This is where the paradigm shift happens. We are awakened as the new body-mind world. And then Satyayuga, of course, there's nothing to be said, it's the heart. It's absolutely the disillusion and living as one self-reality, heart. There are no definitions there. The heart simply is love and light. This is the understanding of all the yugas that is reflected at the level of the chakras itself. Now coming back to the significance of the Ouroborus and why this matters. Ouroborus points us to that, this nature itself. The minute the tail and the head become one and start vibrating as one, that play is on for consciousness. So at the level of the human, the minute the crown and the root chakra are vibrating at a certain level, we are playing that game. That becomes a vibration of that game. What the crown is vibrating at, that is receiving from the soul chakra, what the root chakra is anchored as. Its existence, I am, embodied, right? That's the dance of these two. So ultimately that's why duality dissolves when you don't see the difference between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. There's no difference between crown or my higher self versus the lower self. I am embodied divinity. That is the understanding for this. So now, another thing that I really want to say, what's so beautiful is that the Ouroborus, if you really look at that, right? You even see the serpent, right? You see the serpent, to sense the serpent energy. And that's why you see across cultures, we've seen this serpent as a symbol in everywhere, especially when it comes to metaphysical teachings, esoteric teachings, right? All of that, we really see this. Religious teachings. It's a powerful symbol, a symbol that we can directly connect to be our feminine self, Kundalini. To sense Kundalini is to be establishing as that energetic self. It's all about energy. Yeah. So if you look at the symbol of the snake as well, right? The head and the tail are one, right? And the snake knows this. It's pure sensing. We know that. Serpentine is my nature. Right? We're constantly shedding the skin. We know that. There's nothing that is constant at the level of form. Everything as energy is changing. Every moment is fresh. We are identityless, even though we are appearing that may look like as an identity. We are identityless. That understanding is the serpent's knowledge. That's why we see it everywhere, right? Like Nagas, or you see the seven-headed snake, five-headed snake across cultures. In different stories, of course, right? That's the thing about mythological stories in some ways. So for the Ouroborus, you see that the head and the tail are one, and the body of the snake. As long as the head and the tail are one, the body of the snake can only be flexible based on the head and the tail. This is understanding the nature of mind. The identity with which I move as is what I am established as the I am, determines how flexible I will be. That determines the nature of my lived experience. That is the powerful understanding of the Ouroborus. And it's an invitation. Because as long as the head and the tail are vibrating as one, and that bite is on, we are attached. We are living as attachment to that particular identity. And that within that identity, only that level of flexibility is allowed. I'm not going to bring it into a practical thing, because again, one of the most common questions that really come forth, which can also be seen through this example. That is why the state of mind that is perceiving the problem, seeing the obstacle, right? That's our Dwapara experience, right? I have a problem, I have an obstacle, and we put that problem and obstacle as if it's outside of us. The mind that is living the obstacle, perceives the obstacle, can never overcome the obstacle from the identity that it is. This is the understanding. So that is why the thinking that is creating the problem cannot find the solution, cannot live a true solution. It appears to, but there is no new solution. So its flexibility, its level of understanding and play is within the dynamic kshetra. So identity is everything. Everything. And the Ouroborus reminds us the ultimate identity, that's why, is to untether. Be unattached. Don't identify yourself to be one thing or anything. This is the detaching of the tail and the head. So that's why in Dwapar Yuga, we think, we try to figure out, we try to worry, right? And the experience at the denser level seems like that. Oh, because I worried and because I did this, and which is, again, I always say, like, every context, that play is valid. If we are vibrating as that, that is the path. So this is not to mean that that is not the right way. That's not the right way to see it. Right way is, as long it's that's why to see all of this as phenomena absolutely unravels everything. If I'm vibrating as Dwapar Yuga, that will be my lived experience as the path. I will try to figure out, I will try to do, I will try to make things happen, and through that I learn. Through that I evolve, I appear to evolve. I will play that illusion of that game. But that is not true reality. It is true only when I dance as that, I vibrate as that. So this way we can hold every context, every state of mind to be a beautiful, valid play as consciousness. Because for consciousness, that which we are, every state of mind is equanimous. There is nothing outside of that which I am. And I get to play any which way. That's the understanding. The invitation of this time, right, if you're seeing this, one divine self always reminding its own self, is it's time to wake up to the already aware self that which we are. Yeah, so this Ouroborus with its head and tail, to open that. When it is not biting its own tail, it is not regurgitating that dream, that reality. This is also the understanding of karma. Only the Dwapar Yuga state of mind experiences the illusion of reincarnation and linear karma, where the cause and the effect are apart. There is only one cause. That is the understanding as awakened as subconscious subtle body. And of course, to awaken as a causal body, as consciousness itself, is to know that there is no cause. I am beyond all causality. That is the invitation. Yeah? So you can really see that the minute we do that, it's going to start. And that's why for the Dwapar Yuga state of mind, whenever you're figuring out, you're using your intellectual mind, logical mind, use it only so much to get and understand the limitation that it is. Once you see the nature of the intellectual mind, you will not pick that up for what it has no capability to serve. Our five senses only understand and perceive so much. To use our five senses to define life is to really see very little and nothing at all. The intellectual mind is to a beautiful way that we can use our five senses to play the five sensory world of matter. But that is where its limit is, that's where it ends. But an available, open, known mind, as we say, that's the invitation. Dissolves its five sensory identity, opens to its own self, and realizes I'm consciousness. This is the dissolution of all obstacles, all problems. You live as presence, timeless awareness. And this then as consciousness is absolute flexibility. I am nothing and no one, appearing as anything and anyone. All that is me. This is a different experience. So that which is established as the head and as the tail determines what happens in the middle, the flexibility. Very important. Coming back to now Mahashivaratri. Why is it? Why is it that for Mahashivaratri, we really say to stay up and to take in, because the energies are such. We are actually keeping our spine straight, and what happens then is that the energy that moves. And I would like to add this here, and this is again my personal experience, and that's what I've seen. Even more than keeping your spine upright, which of course aligns with certain energies at the level of the mind, even more important is to keep our attention inwards onto the spine, coming fully into the body and being as presence. Ultimately, everything is that which we are. It allows us to sense and allow for the energies to move through the way that they need to move through. And that actually detaches us from the attachment that is living as the Dwapara identity. As if I am the limited body, the ideas of the thinking mind that we've taken on from the world. It releases us from that. That is the significance of Mahashivaratri for the play of the physical body, personal mind, and the world. So we can harness that. Ultimately, of course, every invitation to simply be presence. This is the play of that. Chakras coming into the heart. Ouroborus. We are right now at a profound portal junction. This Kumbh Mela was all about this karmic gateway. Awakening beyond linear karma. I am timeless karma. Mind is karma. So very happy Mahashivaratri to all of us who are celebrating this and playing and exploring with this, and to living and celebrating that which already is, that which we are, an awakened body, mind, world. Much love. Beautiful day.